purpose is not visible. The problem is Pharaoh is chasing me. That's the problem. The problem is if he gets me back, he may kill me. The problem is I have left who I used to be to become who I want to be. And my past is chasing me. But the purpose is in the chase. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying to you. See, what I want you to get right now is that there's purpose in your pain. There's purpose in your problems. There's purpose in your story. You're looking at what happened. But God is looking at why it happened. And you'll never be able to praise him about the what until you look at the why. I don't like what happened, but I do trust why it happened. Because even though I don't like what happened, all things work together for the good of them that who are the called according to his. So his revelation in retrospect adds purpose to their problem. For every problem in your life, there is a purpose that you don't see. You're just running through the problem. Ooh, God made a way. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Ooh, got by the time. Ooh, paid the rent. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Ooh, they hired me. I got the job. That wasn't about a job. Do you think God brought you on that job to make money? God could let you find more money than you make. I'm going to say it again. God could let you find more money than you make. Can you prove that? God let Jesus find money in the mouth of a fish. There is a purpose behind everything you're going through in your life. But the revelation comes in retrospect. Let's look at this. Let's go deeper. These were runaway slaves. Even if they outran Pharaoh, they would always be runaway slaves. Looking over their shoulder, wondering when they would get caught. Because as long as Pharaoh was chasing them, they would always be slaves. Even though they were no longer being oppressed, as long as the oppressor lived, the potential to be oppressed remained, which is oppression within itself. I don't have to be a slave in bondage to be a slave to fear. So I'm delivered out of the bondage, but I'm still bound by the fear of maybe he'll get me back. I wonder how many people in this room are living with the fear of maybe he'll get me back. I wonder how many people are afraid to be happy this morning because maybe it won't last. I'm wondering this morning how many people in this room are afraid to love because maybe it might go bad. I'm wondering how many people in this room are afraid to try because maybe you might fail. You see, as long as you allow Pharaoh to chase you, You'll always be a slave. You'll never be free to be your highest and best self because your oppressor is always approaching. Any day now, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to bring that addiction right back in your life. I'm going to bring that compulsive behavior right back in it. You will never be free. You ever seen somebody try to dominate somebody and you'll never get free. You'll always be my woman. I don't care where you go. I don't care where you hide. Oh, I brought back some memories with that. Living with a threat is not living at all. So God takes the children of Israel through the water. They were saved through the water because their oppressor chased them to the water. Everything that was God's came out of the water. Everything that was not of God drowned in the water. There are some things that God takes you through just to destroy Did anybody see how pretty that was? There are some things that God takes you through just to destroy what is chasing you. You can't tell whether it's of God or not till you come out of the water and it ain't on you no more. Somebody shake yourself. I got it off me. 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 I went through a test, but I got it off me. I stopped being my friend. I don't even know what day it was, but I got it off me. I got it off. I got it off me. You see, if a slave is a slave, they're only a slave till they die. For the slave, death is freedom. Death, burial, resurrection. Paul says in Romans 6, he that is dead is freed from sin. He's teaching about baptism, that if we are buried with him in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection, so that the debt is paid by death, burial, and resurrection. Pharaoh really was chasing them because he thought he owned them. But God told Pharaoh through Moses, Israel is my son, my firstborn son. Israel is my, in fact, I tell you what, I'll show you as my firstborn son. He says, I'll kill your firstborn son until you let my son go. The night of the Passover, that's why God went from house to house letting the death angel take the firstborn sons of Egypt, because he was saying, I'm going to show you what it's like to lose a son. He says, behold, Israel is my son, even my firstborn son. Check it out, scripture on the board. My son. Pharaoh says, he's my slave. God says, he's my son. Pharaoh said, he's my slave, I paid for him. God said, he's my son. Pharaoh said, I'm going after my slave. God said, I'm going to deliver my son. What you don't understand is they're talking about the same person. The same discussion is being had about you. Whatever is chasing you, the enemy is saying, he's my slave. And God is saying, no, he's my son. So the slave runs to the water and the son comes out. Just three people say, run to the water, run to the water, run to the water, run to the water, run to the water. Run to the water, run to the water, run to the water, run. Run to the water, run to the water. Run to the water, run to the water, run to the water. Whatever is chasing you can go to the water, but it can't go. You know, we don't have baptisms like we used to have them. It's not like it used to be. People just go, they go dry, they come out wet. They do. The reason it doesn't have the impact is that they don't understand what they're doing. If they understood what they were doing like we used to make people understand. I'm used to people coming up out of the water speaking in tongues. I'm used to people being filled with the Holy Ghost coming up out of the water. I'm used to the power of God falling so strong that diseases came off in the water. Afflictions came off in the water. Mental disorders came off in the water. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? That's why the old folks said, take me to the water. Come on, somebody. Take me to the Take me to the water. Then they said, none but the right. None but, oh, none. What amazes me is God delivered the children of Israel, watch this, over a promise he made to a dead man. You know, I got a call from a well-known actor who wanted me to be a producer on a movie. And the movie he wanted to do was on Zachary Timms. And he said, you knew him and you counseled him, and I need you to tell me all about him so I can play this role. Major actor, major film, major opportunity, major money. It was so major that I got teary-eyed on the phone because I had to turn it down. because I had given my word to a dead man. And even though Zach is dead, I am not. And my word is not. And when you are a person of integrity, you do not divulge confidential information. I don't care how big the check is. So I painfully said, no. If with all of my flaws, and I got 1,000 billion, 100 quadruple of them, I could keep my word. Look at your God. God told Abraham, your seed will sojourn in Egypt for 400 years. He said, but after 400 years, I will bring them out with great substance. Abraham died in faith, having not yet received the promise. He embraced it afar off. God remembered his word to Abraham, spoke to Moses, said, Moses, go down there and tell Pharaoh I said, let my people. Some of the blessings you got didn't even come because of you. Some of them is some of your grandmama prayed. Some of your mama prayed. Some of your ancestors prayed. And you're walking in a victory that you don't even understand because God made a deal with your mama. I will deliver your. Tell somebody, say, I gotta come out of this. You gotta come. Too many people have prayed. Too many people have prayed over you. Too many people have believed God for you. Too many people got down on their knees calling on Jesus over your life. For you to get here and lose your mind over this, the devil is a lie. Touch your neighbor and tell him I'm coming out of this. Pharaoh, you can't hold me. Pharaoh, you can't hold me. Pharaoh, you can't have me. Defeat, you can't destroy me. Cancer, get out of my body. By his stripes I am. Sit down, sir. I'm just talking to you. Now, the children of Israel were actually in Egypt 430 years. They were actually in Egypt 430 years. The first 30, they were in Egypt as guests. But then a Pharaoh rose up who did not know Joseph or his God. And when that Pharaoh rose into power, they went into slavery. And when they went into slavery, God set his watch. And when it got to the final minutes, the final second that concluded 400 years, 10 generations, 400 years. By this time, they had stopped knowing who God was. They were not serving God. They were not praying. They were not living for him. They were not obeying him. They were not committed to him. But when their time was up, whether they knew who he was or not, I don't know who this is for. I don't know why I had to preach it. But the Lord sent me here to tell you, your time is up. God brought them out immediately. Here's the killer part. He brought them out with great substance. Okay? They went in great distress. They came out with great substance. Whoever I'm preaching to, you went into it in great distress, but you're going to come out of it with great substance. My God, I feel the Holy Ghost. 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 You're going to go into it in great distress. You're going to come out of it with great substance. You're going to go into it nailed to a tree. You're going to come out in the resurrection and life. You're going to go into it poor. You're going to come out of it rich. You're going to go into it down. You're going to come out of it up. You're going to go into it defeated. You're going to come out of it victorious. I need a 30-second crazy victory praise in this church right now. Church, three people say, this is the place, this is the place. 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 Where I'm at right now. What I'm going through right now. What I'm dealing with right now. Tell them this is the place. This is the place. This is the place where the yoke is broken. This is the place where the curse is reversed. This is the place where the enemy is defeated. This is the place where the breakthrough begins. Somebody shout, this is the place. Sit down, sit down. Y'all keep jumping up. Why y'all jump up like that? Service ain't over. Woo! I feel something up in here this morning. I feel something up in here this morning. I feel something happening up in here. I feel something happening up in here. I feel something happening up in here this morning. My God, my God. I don't know who it is, but you just had to be here this morning. God had your word here this morning. You ought to give him a, oh, God. Now, he dealt with Pharaoh back in Egypt. He poured plagues out in Egypt. 10 plagues, frogs and lice and flies. He sent plagues out against Pharaoh in Egypt. The blood was applied while they were still in Egypt. Because going through baptism without blood can't be redemptive. The blood of the Lamb is the purchase redemption price that pays for your liberty. The blood of the Lamb on the doorpost of the believer was God paying the bill. So when they came to the water, the people coming to the water were coming having been under the blood. If you baptize somebody who hadn't gotten under the blood, they go in a dry devil. They come out a wet one. Because water without blood won't bring about redemption. Everything that went in the water that had been under the blood found life. Everything that stepped in the water who had not been under the blood found death. Work with me. Work with me. He brought them out. This was to be the place. Now what you have to understand, all through the Old Testament, this becomes the place. It is a point of reference for thousands of years. Whenever God wanted to prove a point, am I not the God who brought you out from the Red Sea? Am I not the God with my own right hand who delivered you out of Pharaoh's clutches? Did I not bring you out with my right hand and my mighty power across the Red Sea? This is the place. There's always something that God does for you in your history that becomes the substratum of your faith for your destiny. My God, help me preach. Somebody shout, this is the place. What the Red Sea was in the Old Testament, the crucifixion was in the New Testament. It becomes a place where your faith anchors. It's that thing that you say, I know God did that for me. I don't know about this that's in front of me. I don't know about that over there. I don't know about you. But I know. How many people in this room got something you know God did for you? This is the place. I got a few points I'm going to give you real quick, and I'm going to get out of your hair. But I want you to get this. Number one, I want you to understand this is the place of sanctification. This is the place of sanctification. This is the place of sanctification. Now, the word sanctification literally means, it doesn't mean like washed. It means separated. This is the place of sanctification. This is the place where God separates you from your oppressor. Deke Shaddai. Before I formed thee in the belly, I sanctified thee. This is the place where God sets you apart, puts a barrier between you and what was after you. This is the place. Now, when they put the blood on the doorposts before you left, that was justification. When they got down in the water, that was sanctification. I can be justified by the blood, but I am sanctified by the water. Come on, somebody. This is the place. Pharaoh was still chasing them, even though they were justified.
Yes, sir.
But when they came to the place of sanctification, sanctification is a barrier that says, you can't cross this line. You remember when we was kids and we'd be arguing after school and we'd draw a line and say, this is where God draws a line and says, enough is enough. I put up with you long enough, but at this Red Sea, I'm drawing a line. This is the place. Somebody say, this is the place. When Pharaoh tried to cross God's line, now you got to understand, Pharaoh is chasing them with 600 chariots. Chariots. His fleets, his strongest fleets, his best chariots, his strongest horses, his mightiest men. And the Pharaoh himself is leading the fight. And he was leading till he came to the place. When they rolled down into the Red Sea and the horses started coming through the Red Sea, the seabed that was dry for the children of Israel got wet and muddy. Sometimes God will let you walk through stuff that when somebody else try to come behind you, so let me hear it. I feel good. I feel good. This is the place. Somebody say, this is the place. This is the place of sanctification. Number two, this is the place of transformation. This is the place. Oh God, I wish I had more time. This is the place of transformation. In Greek, when we look at the word transformation, it is metamorpho, where we get metamorphosis. This is the place of transformation, and here is the transformation. They went in slaves, servants.
Yes, sir.
They came out sons. They will spend the next 40 years trying to understand how to be sons, because they've spent 400 years being slaves. That's where we are now. We have been bestowed a title that we have not realized. Beloved, now are ye the sons of God. I know it don't look like it. I know you don't feel like it. I know your emotions don't validate it. I know your circumstances don't reflect it. But that's because it does not yet appear what we shall be. But when he shall appear, we shall see him as he is, and we shall be like him. So now, you former slaves are transforming into sonship. This is the place of transformation, where I learned to think differently, where I learned to live differently, where I learned to give differently, where I learned to love differently. This is the place where I start acting like a son and stop living like a slave. This is the place where you are transformed by the renewing of your mind. You went into it a slave. By the time they came out of it, they were sons. Transformation. Which reality are you going to live in? What you were or what you are? Why is it when people demand that you be what you are, you refer them to what you were? Well, you know, I didn't have no father, and you know, I grew up in the hood, and you know, my mama left when I was 7, and no, wait. We left all that in the water. I'm gonna try it again. We left all that in the water. This is the place of transformation. Number 3. This is the place of termination. This is the place where God says, I'm going to settle forever the fear of your oppressor. I'm going to end the struggle permanently. I'm bringing you completely out. Now, there are some things, I will admit, there are some things I struggle to be out of. Just struggle to be out of, depending on which day you catch me. On Tuesday, I'm out. On Friday, I'm double Dutch. Saturday at 3 o'clock, I'm back in. But there are some things that I am so out of, so finished, so through, that I don't care how pressed I get, I don't care how disturbed I get, I will never go back to that. This is a place of termination. I'm finished. You know, there's a place in everybody, a place of termination. Even weak people, little weak little, yeah, I don't want to hit them, I just feel it. Them people. Them. Even them, if you push them far enough, there's a place where they say, okay, okay. You know that okay place? Okay. Okay. Now, when you get to my okay, my eyes buck. Okay. I don't know why they do. They just get big. They get just big, just, and my head go to wobbling like that. Okay. You're going to wake up Jason in a minute. Okay. This is the place of termination. You have to have a place of termination. You can only let people push you so far. You can only let fear push you so far. You can only let trouble push you so far. You have to come to a place where you say, you have chased me as far as you're going to chase me. This is the place where the oppressor drowns. This is the place where it stops. Tell somebody, say it stops right now. I don't know what your it is. I don't know what your it is. I don't know what your it is. Everybody has a different it. But look at somebody and say it stops right now. He brought them to this place so it could stop right now. The reason they were at the Red Sea is because it was a good drowning place. Oh, God. Sometimes God will allow you to get into trouble because the trouble is a good drowning place. It will prove to you, now while I'm here, I might as well I might as well fix it. This is the place. We might as well settle the whole thing. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody right now. It stops right here. This is my last cigarette. This is my last drink. This is my last extra boyfriend. This is my... Y'all ain't gonna talk to me? Y'all not gonna talk to me? I thought y'all was gonna be real with me. You gonna play with me all day? This is the place. I know I was weak last week. I was weak the day before, but this is the place. After I came out of the hospital, I changed my mind. There are some things that once you go through it, when somebody tries to treat you like they used to treat you, you say, This is the place. This is the place of termination. This is the place of identification. Number 4, this is the place of identification. They didn't die. They just acted like they did. Death, burial, resurrection. It's what we do in baptism. We don't really die, but we identify with the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The baptism pool is a place of identification. It is where I identify with what he did. That's why we're baptized. Suffer it to be so that it might fulfill all righteousness. I identify. If you are planted, if you are buried with him in the likeness, identify. In the likeness, I didn't die, but it was like I did. I didn't die, but it was like I did. So when I'm baptized, it is like I died. Tell Pharaoh, I'm dead. When I did this, I'm dead. I got a call after my mother died, about a year or something. Bill collector called me. And he told me, he said, I'm calling about a bill Mrs. Jakes owes. And I said, well, I'm sorry to tell you my mother's deceased. He said, well, how am I going to get paid? I said, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. She owed you till she died. Death pays all debts. Romans 6 says, he that is dead is freed from sin. You don't owe your addiction nothing. You don't owe your past nothing. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to feel guilty about it. And you're sure God don't have to serve it. If you allow what happened to you to control where you are, you have incarcerated yourself. Man, when we used to baptize people, they come up out of the water shouting. I think sometimes they were shouting over what they left in the water. Come on, number 5. This is a place of renewed foundation. This is a place that would be the point of reference for the rest of their experience with God. They would always refer back to this one thing. This is a place of your renewed foundation. This is where God gives you a foundation. This is getting back to what you know about God. This I know, this I know, this I know, this I know. I know. There are some things you ought to know. There are some things that God has proven in your life. I don't care who comes up and tells you anything or says read this book or come up with this philosophy or have you studied moonwalking and do you believe in astrology and all that kind of nothing. Because I know I had an encounter that is the foundation of my life. I am sure about this. Do you have a foundation? God will make sure that you have a foundation. Whenever your faith shakes, he'll put you in a predicament that only he could get you out of. And then when he gets you out of it, it proves to you once again. Do you know what I'm talking about? He proves to you that you know that you know. And I don't care what you face in the future, your mind always goes back to that foundation. This is a place of foundation. Somebody say, I got a foundation. This, I don't know if I should tell them that. This is the place of debt cancellation. You see, The night before they left, the Lord told them to borrow the gold and the silver from the Egyptians. Well, they borrowed so much stuff that they couldn't carry it all. The Bible says even their children were bent over carrying the gold and the silver out of Egypt. They borrowed so much. In fact, I really believe that Pharaoh wasn't chasing them for the slaves. No. You got to understand, they had so much gold and so much silver that when Moses got ready to build stuff, he had to stop them from giving, because they had so much gold and silver. No, you don't understand. They had so much gold and silver that he had to stop them from giving. Let me tell you again. They had so much gold and silver, he had to stop them from giving. Let me tell you where they got it from. It was the wealth of the unjust. Oh, come on with me, somebody. It was the wealth. I don't know whether y'all can eat this kind of food or not. It was the wealth of the unjust. What God did was transfer the wealth of the wicked over into the hands of the righteous. And they had so much blessings on them. Not only were they blessed, but their children were blessed. Their children, I'm talking about generational wealth, pressed down, shaken together, running over. That's why they couldn't outrun Pharaoh. They were carrying too much gold to outrun Pharaoh. God had to deliver them. I tell you, this is the place of supernatural debt cancellation. This is the place where God is going to send transfers, opportunities, favors into your hands. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but your eyes have not seen, your ears have not heard. I don't know who I'm talking to. You're going to get so blessed, your children. Your children are going to be blessed. I want you to touch 7 people and holler, I'm blessed.
Broadcasting from Frederickstead, St. Croix, 101.7 FM. Maestro.
Higher, higher than high. Higher up, higher than takes me so high. Rise this morning with a feeling. No more stress, no more pain, no more grieving. What a feeling. Yeah, I like this feeling. Lord, I love this feeling. Like a sunrise, blessed morning. Like a rainbow from Maracas Mountain. What a feeling. Yeah, I like this feeling. Ja, I love this feeling. Yeah, deep in my soul, where it unfolds, feeling that joy, out of control. It takes me so higher, higher than high, higher,
is spiritual upliftment from Poppy Pops FM.
Come on, give him the praise. Come on, give him the praise. I dance and praise the Lord. Everybody, let's dance. I dance and praise the Lord. Come on, put on your dancing shoes. I dance and praise the Lord. Come on, let's dance. I dance and praise the Lord. We clap. I clap and praise the Lord. The sound of praise go up. I clap and praise the Lord. Come on, let's clap. I clap and praise the Lord. Put your hands together. I clap and praise the Lord. Shout. I shout and praise the Lord. Give him the highest praise. I shout and praise the Lord. Everybody, let's shout. I shout and praise the Lord. Shout to the Lord. I shout and praise the Lord. When I thought that he had done too much, Jesus did it again. Come on, rejoice and praise the Lord. Everybody rejoice, rejoice and praise the Lord. Give him the highest praise. Rejoice and praise the Lord. One more time, rejoice, rejoice and praise the Lord. When I thought that he had done too much, Jesus did it again. I can tell it enough. I shouted loud from the mountain top. I can tell it enough. I shouted loud from the mountain top. Come on, give him the praise. Give him praise.
With gospel exposed.
Don't let him go. My heart in pain, not me again. Following mankind and games, but I know why I failed. I ignored Jesus, my Lord, so I decided to hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. He died on Calvary just for you and me. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. He died on Calvary just for you and me. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. The time is drawing nigh. Now I sing like a blue finch, sweeter days since loving him. You hold on tight. His love is pure, his promises and heaven is for sure. Decide to follow and hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. He died on Calvary just for you and me. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. Hold on and don't let him go. He died on Calvary just for you and me. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. The time is drawing nigh.
Jesus. This DJ is chosen.
It's the Gospel Music Mix with DJ Poppy Pops.
Oh, Yahweh. Yeah. Hey, yeah. I just feel so good I could levitate. Like nothing can hold me down. I am highly favored. Wave your rag and come, let me lift his name. Don't sit down no longer. This is gospel soca. I'm nobody but the way, yeah. Come we picking up the father now. We dancing with Jaja. Everything to celebrate, yeah. We have plenty to be thankful for. So what you get up and dance and get on like we like to say, oh la 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 lay. I'm only praising the name, you don't need no opinion. Oh la 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 lay. I'm when we dance and we branch, we don't need intervention. Oh la 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 lay. I'm only put down the bass and I get up and move like heaven is home. Everybody dancing, yeah. Come to lift his name on high. Hallelujah, Adonai, yeah. Dancing for my victory, yeah. And we love the Father God. 'Cause you know that's what we had, yeah. Oh, na, na. When life's struggles try to come bring me down, I will rise up higher. I will sing it louder. 'Cause I have the victory, yeah. And in him I'm a place my trust. I'm dancing with Jesus. Thank him every day, yes. 'Cause I done victorious. So much we get up and dance and get on like a life myself saying, oh la 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 lay. I'm only praising the name, we don't need no opinion. Oh la 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 lay. And when we dance and we branch, we don't need intervention. Oh la 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 lay. I'm only put down the bass and I get up and move like heaven is home. Everybody dancing, yeah. Come to lift his name on high. Hallelujah, Adonai, yeah. Dancing for my victory, yeah. And we love the Father God. 'Cause you know that's what we had, yeah. Oh Lord, want you to know, no bad mind could have hold me down. 'Cause Jesus already said he will never let me go. Oh Lord, want you to know, who you bless no man fi curse, no. 'Cause you done already said you will never let me go. And I know, yeah. 'Cause you done already said you will never let me go. Jesus already said he could never let me go. Heaven is home. Everybody dancing, yeah. Come to lift his name on high. Hallelujah, Adonai, yeah. Dancing for my victory, yeah. And we love the Father God. 'Cause you know that's what we have, yeah. Oh, na, na.
Come on, everybody, lift your voices up tonight. Somebody say, yeah, positive, he's worthy. Let me hear you say, yeah, 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 yeah. Let me hear you say, come on, Tree Park. When you come into the presence of the Lord and you lift up holy hands and you make a joyful noise to him, it's okay if your neighbor don't understand. It's okay. Sing it again. When you walk into the presence of the Lord and you lift up holy hands, and you make a joyful noise to him. It's okay if some people don't understand. Tell me why. Cause they don't know when you are sinking low, who picked you up? They don't know. When you are running dry, who filled your cup? They don't know. That you almost lost your mind, felt like giving up. But you got a reason to this, yeah. So me say jump and wait, misbehave. Let them think you're crazy. Tell them that is not the case. Jesus is amazing. So me say jump and wait, misbehave. Let them think you're crazy. Tell them that is not the case. Jesus is amazing. Positive.
When we come into the presence of the Lord, yeah, and we're lifting holy hands, there's a joy that runs deep within our hearts, oh yeah, something they can't understand.
Oh,
So me now, stop from give all praise and thanks to my Jehovah. Me can't stop from big up the one who me call say my Redeemer. Me can't turn my back on you, oh Jesus. Oh no, you're the reason for my life, yeah.
Cause they don't know when you are sinking low, who picked you up?
They don't know
When you are running dry, who filled your cup? That you almost lost your mind, felt like giving up. But you got a reason to live. Oh,
so me say jump away,
misbehave, let them think you're crazy. Tell them that is not the case. Jesus is amazing. So make a jump and wave, misbehave, let them think you're crazy. Tell them that is not the case.
Jesus is amazing.
just like David, we give God the praise. All the hands them raise. Come on and make a joyful noise, yeah. Praise is what I do, getting on my dance, so should you, yeah. You'll hear me lifting up my voice, yeah. So get out your flats and wave, we giving him the highest praise. So never give me some space, cause I want to misbehave. Oh Lord, cause I want to dance and jump, I want to praise and shout. And it's fine if they don't be what this is about.
Cause when I was sinking low, who picked me up? When I was running dry, Jesus filled my cup. They don't know. I almost lost my mind, felt like giving up. But I got a reason to do it. I'm a
We just do it in the place. We just do it in the place. Jump up and I win. Jump and misbehave. Jump up with your rats. Bring your gospel flags. And if we do it, we do it all night. All night. We just do it. Me and positive and do it. Me and Sammy just do it. Me and positive and do it.
I'm telling you, but I got a question for you. Here we go. Hey, have you ever seen a snake in the grass? In the dark, it moving real fast, and it will look you straight in your eye. But behind your back, it trying to bite. Now I know certain people like that. Look here, man, they'll chat behind your back. But you know something? But then they're smiling up in your face. But I pray to the Lord about them, and God told me, He said, stay from sight, stay from sight. My God says, stay from sight, stay from sight. People, cause sighting people evil. You can pray for them, but just stay from sight, people. Let me tell you why. Cause sighting people will broke you down. Oh my, they'll yuck you down. Tongue to the gong, they'll chuck you down. Sighting people will cook you down. Some of them will backstab you. Some of them will bad mind you. Certain people will do all kind of things just to secretly blind you. Stay from sight, stable. I'm telling you, people, you better stay from sight, stable. Listen, man, people, they're so evil. You can pray for them, but just stay from sight, stable. People, I say stay from sight, stable. Listen, people, stay from sight, stable. Some of them is Christians. Yeah. Some people you hang around, man. snake in the grass.
One of them now.
In the dark, it moving real fast.
Slip on the side and a boom.
And it will look you straight in your eye. But behind your back, it trying to bite. Now I know certain people like that. Look here, man, they'll chat behind your back. But you know something? But then they smiling up in your face. But I pray to the Lord about them, and God told me, He said, stay from sight, stay from sight. My God says, stay from sight, stay from sight. Cause certain people evil. You can pray for them, but just stay from certain people. Let me tell you why. Cause certain people will broke you down. Oh my, they'll yuck you down. Tongue to the gong, they'll chuck you down. Certain people will cook you down. Some of them will backstab you. Some of them will bad mind you. Certain people will do all kind of things just to secretly blind you. Stay from certain people. I'm telling you, people, you better stay from certain people. Listen, man, cause certain people, they're so evil. You can pray for them, but just stay from certain people. I say stay from certain people. Listen to me, stay from certain people. Some of them Christians too. Certain people evil. Pray for them, but just stay from certain people. Certain people. Let me go, look here. This one make a lot of sense. Everyone who's smiling ain't your friend.
Everybody ain't your friend, gal.
Some of them they can pretend.
Look at them.
Put your trust in Jesus, He's the number one friend. Girlfriend, be careful where you eat. Be careful where you drink. Be careful of your heart. My boy, be careful of your thing. Hey, cause you got some Christians like that.
Some of them.
Laying low and waiting for an attack. My friend, to live your life slack. Trust in Jesus and He'll make them fall in their own trap. Stay away from certain people. I'm telling you, stay from certain people. Look at some of them got their so evil. I said stay for them, but just stay from certain people. Stay away from them liars. Stay away from them robbers. Stay away from backbiting. Stay away from fornicating. Stay away from adultery. Stay away from them. Look out. Stay away from them cooking them. Look at them. Got to watch out 'cause they book it. Stay away from them. I say stay away from them Jews. Stay away from them murderers. Stay away from them crooks. Stay away. You gotta look. The Bible say you must watch and pray and stay away. Yes. Musical Jamco Productions.
D. Murphy. Oh la la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la. Hey la la, hey la la, hey la la, hey la. My provider, you're my healer, burden bearer, down in me area. Public lover, none in a undercover. Some say them love you, but me have to spread it. God no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We no want no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Abba no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Some say them love you, but them love you not. Them want you just for what you got. Them dead there when you a bubble pot. Disappear when you the flat on your back. The lips we say that they love you. They hard they say they don't like you. You serving God they go spite you. Them things they God no like. God no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We no want no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Abba no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Hey. Oh la la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la. Hey la la, hey la la, hey la la, hey la, hey la la, hey la la, hey la la, hey la. Oh la la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la la, oh la. Hey la la, hey la la, hey la la, hey la, hey la la, hey la la. God no need no kele kele, no kele kele. my provider, you're my healer, burden bearer, done in a me area. Public love, I don't need no undercover. Some say them love you, but me have to spread it. God no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We don't want no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Abba no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. God no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We don't need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. We don't want no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Abba no need no kele kele, no kele kele, no kele kele love. Let's go.
Press up with gospel exposure.
Lord, you are good and your mercies endure forever. Lord, you are good and your mercies endure forever. People from every nation and tongue
away my iniquity and He take my shame. Now I'm so proud that I'm born again. My God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh. My God is good, oh, good, oh. He's so good to me, Lord. Anything you want, God, Him can do. Anything you want, God, do. He can do. Anything you want, God, do. Him can do. Anything you want, God. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me, Lord. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me. I was once a smoker, wrapped up and bound. My life and my health, it was pulling down. One day God decided that He going to take it from me. Now I can shout out loud of the victory. My God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, hey, good, oh. He's so good to me, oh Lord. Anything you want, God, do Him can do. Anything you want, God, do He can do. Anything you want, God, do Him can do. Anything you want, God. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me, Lord. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me. Jesus, you save me from the fiery lake.
Yo, this is Danny Rose. Get your spiritual upliftment from Poppy Pops.
That is why I sing and say, God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, eh. My God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, eh. Oh Lord, anything you want, God, Him can do. Anything you want, God, do. He can do. Anything you want, God, Him can do. Anything you want, God. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me, Lord. My God is good, oh, good, eh. He's so good to me. My God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh. He's so good to me, Lord. My God is good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, good, oh, well, good, oh, good, oh. He's been good to me. Anything you want, God, Him can do. Anything you want, God, do. He can do. Anything you want,
stop singing for God, singing for love, singing for God. I can't stop singing for God, singing for my God. I can't stop singing for God, singing for grace. I just can't stop singing for my King, my King, oh yeah. So every day I go lift up my voice, lift up my hand, kick off my shoes. I can't stop praising, I can't stop praising Him. Every time I jump off my seat, I stamp on my feet, the devil defeated. I can't stop praising, I won't stop praising Him. I can't stop singing for God, singing for grace, singing for peace. I can't stop singing for God, singing for my God. I can't stop singing for protection, singing for mercy, singing for all the way, singing for my God. You see, you go to His purpose. Don't ever forget your calling. Don't ever neglect your anointing. You won't go to worship. Worship God with all your heart. Worship Him in spirit and truth. You see, I don't play with what God gives me. So I take this matter seriously. I was born to praise the Almighty. Shall we sing from now till eternity? I can't stop singing for God, singing for love, singing for God. I can't stop singing for God, singing for my God. I can't stop singing for God, singing for grace. I just can't stop singing for my King, my King, oh yeah. So every day I go lift up my voice, lift up my hand, kick off my shoes. I can't stop praising, I can't stop praising Him. Every time I jump off my seat, I stamp on my feet, the devil defeated. I can't stop praising, I won't stop praising Him. I can't stop singing for God, singing for grace, singing for peace. I can't stop singing for God, singing for my God. I can't stop singing for protection, singing for mercy, singing for all the way, singing for my God. Zion song unto the Lord sing. Let praises come out of your mouth. Sing and shout, hallelujah, 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 yeah. I can't stop singing for Danny once more. Forgetting about the past and we're moving on. Lacing up my boot cause I'm trotting on, yeah. I'm in my zone. Forgetting about the past and we're moving on. Lacing up my boot cause I'm trotting on. I'm in my zone. I'm letting go. Yes, I'm ready. Ready to laugh again. Ready to dream again. Yes, I'm ready. Ready to live again. Ready to dream again.
Gospel exposed.
Through the storm and the rain, through the hurts and the pain, I pledge to give you my all. Through the struggle, the hustle, the wounds I sustain, I pledge to give you my all. Give you my all. The searcher, come a little closer to the creator, the problem solver, to the hater, they seem a little better, but love is the answer, and never a little bit. Through the storm and the rain, the hurts and the pain, I pledge to give you my all. Through the struggle, the hustle, the wounds I sustain, I pledge to give you my all, give you my all.
Yo,
Yes,
this is
I'm
Daddy Rocks. Get your
ready
spiritual
to
upliftment
laugh
from
again,
Pop
ready to dream again. Yes, I'm ready, ready to live again, ready to dream again.
Forgetting about the past and we moving on. Lacing up my boot cause I'm trotting on, yes. I'm in my zone. Forgetting about the past and we moving on. Lacing up my boot cause I'm trotting on. I'm in my zone. I'm letting go. Yes, I'm ready. Ready to laugh again. Ready to dream again. Yes, I'm ready. Ready to leap again. Ready to dream again. Through the storm and the rain, through the hurts and the pain, I pledge to give you my all. Through the struggle, the hearts and the wounds I sustain, I pledge to give you my all. Give you my all, all, all. I pledge, give you my all.
It all belongs to you, Lord. So we taking it back, baba back, baba baba back. So these jobs and these keys and this bassline, melody and harmony of chords and this voice. Lord, I'm giving it back to you. This soca music, they rather abuse it. When all along this music is to glorify my King. Instead they use it forever be on the bacchanal, but I will use it to praise my God. So these chants and these keys and this bassline, the melody and harmony of chords and this voice, Lord, I'm giving it back to you. Cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, hey. This music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. We listening to what they say, and if it's rubbish, throw it away. The songs we sing, the songs we bring, let's recognize the King of Kings. So these jams and these keys and this bassline, the melody and harmony of chords and this voice, Lord, I'm giving it back to you, cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, hey. This music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. It all belongs to you, Lord. Let every instrument declare your glory. So we taking it back, ba ba back. So these drums and these keys and this bassline, the melody and harmony of chords and this voice, Lord, I'm giving it back to you. Cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. Cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. Cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. Cause this music was meant to praise my Lord. So we taking it ba 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 ba, oh. We listening to what they say.
And very soon, I am going to meet the King.
What we look at them and tell them, say?
Yeah.
Solid.
Ensure your election sure, ready for the calling.
That's right.
Ensure your election sure,
See, channel.
ready for the calling.
Ayanta. What we look at them and tell them, say?
One more step in life, I take
play when you're walking, not wavering until I meet you. I enter, what we look and we tell them, say, hey.
And show your election show, ready for the calling.
We say you got to be sure.
And show your election show,
You got to be sure.
ready for the calling.
Yeah, hear me now. You got to be sure. All right, hey.
I'm ready now.
Already now one.
I'm ready now.
Hey, you're ready now one.
I'm ready
Already.
already
Already.
already now.
All right.
You better be sure in Jesus before judgment day comes.
And not one foot in and not one foot out. You surely will know salvation. On judgment day. If you don't obey, if God say depart from me, I know you're not. Please go away. If you don't do Christ and you compromise, if your name not written in the book of life, you will pay a price. All right.
Election show, ready for the calling.
So you got to be sure.
And show your election show, ready for the calling. And show your election show,
Already,
ready for the calling.
So we ready. Got to be ready, cause soon the master got come. For the Lord is with I for his salvation. Everybody put up your hands, we tell them, you got to be, so be ready. You got to be, so be ready. You got to be, all right.
Very soon, we are going to meet the King.
Jesus.
Soon and very soon, we are going to meet the King.
All right. We ready now. We ready now. Me say we ready. Me say we ready. All right. Yeah, man. Bethel, Ayanta, Heaven Sent Production. Solid. Yeah, man. Out of that.
Our God. Get ready to be blessed and fill your soul with music.
Music for your soul on Gospel Exposure.
World changers. I know what is love is. Oh, Daddy Father blessing me. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father blessing me. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father. Whoa. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father blessing me. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father giving me life. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father take away my strife. Blessing me. Oh, Daddy
the name of Jesus. This DJ is chosen.
It's the gospel music mix with DJ Poppy Pops.
Oh, I did it, boy. Yeah. When they ask me where I'm from the Caribbean, and I'm a Christian boy. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord. Nothing wrong with dancing. Part of our culture. No ways rotating, no. Don't let the devil tempt you. Christian from the Caribbean, and music is a part of our life. Yeah, we dance and praise flag, but represent Jesus Christ. Yeah, promote no reveling, cause the Bible don't tell me them thing is sin. Used to do them thing before, but Jesus lets me from deep within. So no more partying, no more drinking, no. Cause Jesus saved me, but me dance when the gospel lit play. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood. Caribbean Christian, and dancing in my blood, my blood. Don't hold me, let me dance. Don't hold me, let me dance. Oh yeah, let me dance to Jesus. Let me dance to Jesus. Oh yeah, dance to Jesus. Oh yeah. Young and old, come along. Everyone can do it. No worry about nothing. It ain't got no age limit. Cause this party is heavenly. That's still a problem gone away. It's a new kind of dancing. Can lead you to your healing. So get up and dance. Dance your problem them away. I know you've been waiting long, but your breakthrough